Now, I've reacted to all sorts of weird stuff on my channel, from flat earthers to young earth creationists. But today's video may take the cake because I'm responding to a garden gnome who thinks all atheists are wrong and ignorant. Please subscribe.
Atheists are ignorant and dumb.
I bet you thought I was joking, didn't you?
You have two ends of ignorant stupidity when it comes to religion.
I completely agree. On one end, you've got the religious folks who claim that God did it all. And then on the other end, you've got what actually happened.
On one end, you have the religious freaks who believe every single thing they've been taught to believe, and every single word of whatever Bible they believe is the right one.
Bit of a strange comment for a religious garden gnome to make, but you shouldn't be focused on which Bible they read. You should be focused on which God they worship, because there are hundreds. Are we talking about Buddha, Ganesh, Zeus, Jesus Christ? Take your pick.
Usually they're very hateful and pushy, and everyone's going to hell.
Now, for somebody who called his video "Why Atheists Are Wrong and Ignorant," you don't seem to have a very high opinion of religious people either.
Then on the opposite end, you have the atheists who are like, no, that's all wrong, it's all fake, science this, science that.
Yeah, but that's because science is able to explain things without the need for a god or gods. And that's probably why you see so many religious people classifying science as a religion itself, which it isn't.
And they're usually just as hateful and childish in their attitudes.
How dare you? I'm not childish, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Well, both sides are ignorant and dumb. They are basically the same people, just on opposite sides of the argument.
Hang on a second, so people who believe that God exists are exactly the same as people who do not believe that a god or any god exists, okay?
Except atheists are a little worse, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Well, of course atheists are the worst. We're all terrible people. Just ask Cersei. We don't believe God exists, so how could we possibly be good people?
But first, there's a reason why the arguments keep on and on and on between the two sides.
Is it because some religious people don't like being proven wrong about what they believe?
The problem with this, especially using science, is that there are no laws.
No laws.
There are no facts.
No facts.
The truth is that science is at least in use of people trying to prove something.
Yeah, but science isn't about trying to prove things. Science primarily aims to disprove things. It's built on the idea of falsifiability, where a hypothesis or theory must be testable and potentially proven wrong through experimentation and observation. If a hypothesis withstands repeated attempts to disprove it, it gains credibility and is considered a stronger explanation of the natural world.
Scientific laws are just things we aren't able to prove wrong with the knowledge and technology we have at the moment.
Okay, well that's not really that helpful, because as I just said, that is exactly what science is always trying to do. Prove things wrong.
We will never be able to truly prove something as a fact.
Okay, well what about the fact that I wear glasses? What would I have to do to prove that to you? Is seeing them on my face not enough?
Because our knowledge and understanding will always be limited in the present.
Well, I'm not even sure why you said that. Obviously, we can only know things which have already been learned, so yeah.
We have no idea what knowledge and understanding people will have in the future.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that, Captain Obvious. Now, what about your God? Apparently, he knows what has happened, what is happening, and what's going to happen. So can't he help you with that?
To disprove what we have right now and believe to be facts.
So science then, because that's exactly what science does.
How long ago did people know that the world being flat was a fact?
The world being flat was never a fact. It was an assumption based on a limited understanding of the real world. But in the 3rd century BC, we established the roughly spherical shape of Earth as a physical fact, and we calculated Earth's circumference.
It seems silly now, but people then didn't have the knowledge that we have now.
So exactly what I just said then, and I'm just relieved that you're not also a flat earther. In fact, I'm struggling to see exactly what you are at the moment.
Maybe in 1,000 years, kids in the 3rd grade will laugh at how people in the 2000s actually believed gravity is what kept everything from floating into space.
Hang on a second, maybe you are a flat earther then. What sort of moron says that gravity doesn't exist? Oh yeah, that's right, usually flat earthers.
We just don't know. But what everyone should know is that there are no damn facts.
That is such a stupid thing to say, but it's expected. After all, I am talking to a garden gnome. Well, I'm not actually you know exactly what I mean.
There are no laws.
No laws.
And anything we think we might know could easily be wrong.
Well, yeah, being wrong is always an option, especially for somebody like you.
So, with that said, there is no way to prove anything at all.
You're touching on a philosophical concept called epistemological skepticism, which is the idea that true knowledge is unattainable. It's a bit like saying we're all living in a giant simulation and that there's no way to be absolutely sure of everything. While it's true that absolute certainty is kind of elusive, we can still rely on evidence and reason to navigate the world.
And now I'll get into why atheists are worse than churchy freaks.
Oh, right, I thought that's what we'd been doing anyway. But okay, carry on.
First off, they have no logic.
Well, that's a bit of a sweeping generalization, isn't it? Atheism is just a lack of belief in a god or gods, not a lack of belief in logic.
Well, they do, but it...
Oof! Alright, so now we do have logic, but it's flawed because it disagrees with what you believe? Is that where we are now?
An atheist's go-to argument usually involves science and the theory of evolution in the Big Bang Theory.
Well, yeah, that's because the Big Bang Theory explains perfectly how the universe came into existence. And evolution explains how we all got here. So, your point is?
But those theories, if real, could just as easily have been the work of a higher being.
Ah, right, so you're one of those religious types then. So you're not denying that the Big Bang happened, but you were trying to credit it to God.
If anything, science is more of an enemy to atheists. Think about light waves, radio waves, magnetic fields, and so on. Think about all the many different things all around us and going through us every day that we can't even perceive.
Okay, I'm thinking about it.
We can't touch, taste, smell, see, or hear any of them. But eventually humans develop the knowledge and devices to detect them. Well, what else is here? Are you really ignorant enough to believe that we have discovered everything?
But nobody has ever made that claim. You're right, it would be absurdly ignorant to think that we know everything and that we've discovered everything that's there to be discovered. I have never heard an atheist claim that, or anyone else for that matter.
You ignorant?
What else is around us that we don't know of yet?
Well, until we make those discoveries, there's no way to know.
Maybe other dimensions? Maybe forms of energy we don't even know how to detect.
Yeah, those are all possibilities, and science is making new breakthroughs and discoveries every day. Well, maybe not every day, but we do it a lot.
Maybe forms of energy inside our own bodies that remains even after the flesh is dead.
So a soul then. Now there have been many accounts of people having near-death experiences and seeing a bright light, and of people claiming to have been on Earth before. But science has never ever been able to verify any of it. So how can it be considered to be a fact?
You don't know.
Alright, calm it down. I didn't say I knew.
And yet, atheists stupidly make definitive claims that there is nothing.
And I just happen to be one of the atheists who thinks that when we die there is nothing. Just try and imagine what it was like before you were born. Well, being dead is probably the same. But I've never definitively claimed anything because I could be wrong. As could you, my gnomey little friend.
They so stupid.
How close-minded.
Well, allow me to retort. Right back at you, pal. Because some of the religious people that I know are the most close-minded people I have ever encountered.
And what makes it worse is that a lot of atheists think they are being intelligent, when it's just the opposite.
Okay, fair enough. So, is it intelligent to believe that the entire world was flooded and that everyone who needed to be saved was saved by an old man and his kids? Or that another old man with a big white beard parted the Red Sea? Is that an intelligent thing to believe? And my personal favourite, the talking snake.
I'm a snake.
Is it intelligent to believe that there was a talking snake?
They for some reason lump the idea of God and heaven and spirits in with magic and fairy tales.
Yeah, but only because that's exactly what it is.
So tell me, what is magic? An unseen force or something mysterious you can't explain?
Well, it depends on the context. Now, in entertainment, magic is something like pulling a rabbit out of a hat or finding somebody's chosen card. In folklore and fantasy, magic often refers to the use of supernatural abilities. Let me give you another example. 1, 2, 3. Now, do I have supernatural abilities, or was that just sleight of hand? The magic of love, or the magic of a beautiful sunset? They're all magical things, so yeah, context matters.
Well, people have seen things that could be called magic all through the ages.
Right, and?
But once we start figuring out how something works, we call it science.
What does that even mean?
Just like at some point, a grizzly bear was a monster.
Monster.
Well, they're not exactly known for being friendly to human beings now, are they? I'd rather not run into one when I was sat somewhere having a picnic.
But now that humans have progressed and studied them and given them scientific names and classifications, it's just an animal.
Well, I can see what you're saying, but sorry, pal, they've always been an animal.
But have atheists ever considered that if a higher being were to do something like create a universe, or create a little frog, or make someone's heart start beating again, that it wouldn't just happen like magic with no scientific trace?
Okay, so how would it happen then? We're all dying to know.
Why do they keep trying to separate God and science?
Well, we don't. It's just that science doesn't require a god, because everything can be explained without him.
Just because we can study something and see how it happens, this makes this happen, that made this happen, and so on, that doesn't mean that it wasn't the work of a higher being.
Yeah, but it also doesn't mean that it was.
And just because we might find out how a miracle scientifically happened, doesn't mean that it wasn't divine intervention.
Yeah, we get it. You're religious. So what you're saying is you're gonna just ignore everything that science explains about a so-called miracle and just go back to claiming that it must have still been God.
If scientists discovered proof of ghosts and could explain how they exist, it would just become science to us.
Well, yeah, obviously it would, because there would be a scientific explanation for what is a garden gnome.
Science and God are not unrelated things.
Yeah, they are.
But now I'm going to finish up here with some more pathetic ways in which atheists are dumb.
Oh, there's more!
A lot of them are actually just rebelling against their upbringings or against the pushy church freaks they've grown up around.
Without getting all deep and meaningful, I've got very specific reasons why I am an atheist, and I'm sure every atheist you ask will have their own reason for being an atheist. I forgot what I was talking about now. I feel like I said atheist a lot then. Anyway, moving on.
Then you have the educated, snobby idiots who look down on religion and beliefs as just being for the gullible and simple-minded.
Well, I've never said that. I actually think religion is fine as long as you keep it to yourself. And by the same token, it should be fine to you that I'm an atheist. Why is what I choose to not believe in going to have any impact on what you believe in? Or something. I think I may need to reboot myself.
You also have a lot of atheists because it's becoming trendy. There are too many dumb shits in the world who just want to fit in somewhere.
Too many dumb shits.
Hey, there was no need for that. I know I fumbled my words a few times in this video, but you know, that was uncalled for.
Everyone wants to fit in and be a part of a group or a trend or a scene.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what it is. I'm only an atheist because I'm trying to be cool. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, because I can't see you, I haven't got my glasses on. CB here, Creaky, from Wales, Swansea County. Hasn't quite got the same ring to it.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 9/21/24.
Oh crap, I forgot to say the date in the wrong order. And be honest, if you didn't know this was a wig, would you be able to tell? Please subscribe. Anyway, while you think about that, let's hear from CC.
For now, let's discuss flat Earth.
Yes, let's discuss flat Earth, because last night's video went down like a fart in an elevator. I thought people liked it when I made atheist content. Clearly I was wrong.
That's right. The problem I have
Problem? Don't you mean problems? Plural?
is with everybody around the world can't find a curve.
Well, then you're looking in the wrong place. Earth's curve.
Okay, at some point there has to be a bulge.
Well, I completely agree, and sometimes there still is.
You wish.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
Scientists say that we're too small, we're like ants on a basketball, right? And that's why we can't see the curve. Well, you see, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? But it's a perfectly fair comparison to make. Earth is massive. Do I need to pull out the Father Ted clip?
Because Neil deGrasse Tyson, you all know who that is, right? See, once you believe in the ball, you have to go along with everybody, all the scientists that are out there, whether they're comedians and not real or not. You have to go along with everything that they say.
Have to? Well, you don't have to go along with everything Neil deGrasse Tyson says, in exactly the same way as you don't have to believe that we live on a ball, because there is so much evidence supporting that we live on an oblate spheroid, only an idiot would claim otherwise.
As a matter of fact, NDT did say at one point that the Earth was like a pear.
Neil deGrasse Tyson did use the analogy of a pear to describe the Earth's shape, but it's important to understand the context and nuance behind it. He wasn't saying that the Earth is literally shaped like the fruit we eat. Earth is a sphere, whether flat earthers like it or not, and the Earth's southern hemisphere is ever so slightly larger than its northern hemisphere, creating a subtle asymmetry that NDT likened to the shape of a pear. And of course, with flat earthers being, well, flat earthers, they are now claiming that he meant it literally.
Let's get back to what I was talking about. So nobody on Earth can find a curve, okay? But yet there has to be a bulge somewhere, and nobody's ever seen it. Nobody knows where it is. Nobody could ever find it.
Found it. Where's the rest of the ship then, CC?
As a matter of fact, NDT, back to what I was talking about, even said that you can't see the curve unless if you go out in space, just like I said on a couple other videos that I've had. And that's amazing because we don't seem to have a picture of Earth.
Now, when it comes to CC, I don't know whether it's the fact that he's so invested in being a flat earther that he just denies every single picture we have of Earth as being valid, or whether he's just that stupid. There are literally people right now this second in the ISS looking down on Earth and seeing that it's a sphere. I haven't got any pictures of Earth. Yeah, right.
We have these composite drawings. We have stitching that puts together this Earth for you to make it look like a ball.
Oh, he's nodded off. Anyway, Chris, get a basketball, put it on your kitchen table, pull out your beloved P900 or P1000, whatever the hell it is you've got, and see if you can take a photograph of every possible angle of that basketball in one frame. It's impossible, so it has to be composited together, and flat earthers know this.
They didn't actually prove anything or give us a picture until 2015 when flat Earth hit.
Well, that just isn't true, Chris, is it? On December the 7th, 1972, the crew of Apollo 17 took the blue marble photo, which isn't a composite. It's just a photograph of the Earth from space. Exactly what you are now claiming we do not have. And because I know I've got lots of smarty pantses that watch me, yeah, I know that there's another blue marble photograph from 2012 which is composited together. So, yeah.
However, for the general population who were just not really asleep, always knew something was wrong, woke up.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for flat earthers that these people who you say woke up to a barrage of YouTube videos from flat earthers filled with misunderstandings and misinformation.
I'm not saying that was the year that I woke up, but it doesn't make a difference. We're all here now. And we all know that the Earth is flat.
So why is it then that every single time a flat earther goes out and tries to prove that the Earth is flat, they always, without exception, end up proving what we've known to be a fact for thousands of years, that the Earth is an oblate spheroid?
Yeah, sure, there are mountains and whatever it may be, but the only way we have to tell trolls is that the Earth is flat.
Okay, so why not beautiful or intelligent? Even delicious, because they're all adjectives exactly the same as flat. Flat is not a shape.
Motionless, covered with something to hold in the atmosphere.
So kind of like an upside down goldfish bowl then, because that's what you're describing. Don't you ever listen to the things you say in your videos, Chris?
See, you cannot have atmosphere on something that doesn't have a container.
Do you think they do it on purpose? It turns out the Earth's atmosphere isn't contained so much as it's attracted. See, the thing is, Earth has got this amazing superpower called gravity. It's like a giant invisible magnet that keeps everything, including the atmosphere, from just drifting off into space.
You need a container. Because apparently out in space, which doesn't exist, but in troll world it does.
Okay, interesting point of view there, Chris. But if space is fake, why would we even need a container?
See, these are all preposterous ideas that us flat earthers
come up with to try and describe your magical space pizza?
Don't people realize that? Of course, I can't really get out and talk to the general public out there about what they think.
Where are you going now? And to be fair, Chris, it's probably just as well you can't get out and speak to the general public, because I would imagine that for you it's bad enough being laughed at on the internet by people like me. So the last thing you want to do is get laughed at face to face.
It's so bad. They've created everything. They've created wars. They've created turmoil. They've created right now what you consider surviving.
Maybe they have, I don't know, but what the hell has this got to do with the shape of the Earth? Is this one of your famous CC tangents? Oh, I do hope so.
I'm not really sure where I'm going with all this, but this is to keep you locked, to keep you in a point where you just don't know what to do anymore.
You know, I would hate to be like CC or any other conspiracy theorist for that matter. Just imagine waking up every day and truly believing in your heart of hearts that everybody was out to get you, because that's what it seems like by the way CC describes the world around him. He thinks everyone is specifically gunning for him.
With this spinning wet ball in this universe.
What universe, Chris? I thought you said space was fake.
You know, I mean, all of it is about control.
So, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what that sounded like is that you were saying that if the Earth was flat, then the governments of the world, and obviously they and them as well, would have no control over us if the Earth was flat.
I love it. You know, with these videos, like, I'll just go off in anywhere. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Well, you'll get no argument from me on that point, because the more you go off on a tangent, the funnier it makes my videos.
Because there's just so much There's so much to grasp.
And again, I completely agree with you, Chris, and you may want to start off by getting a grasp on reality.
You know what I would like to do? I would like to see every troll out there just go and try to find the curve.
And that's exactly what I'm gonna do when I can make Project Curve happen. I'm gonna send up a high altitude weather balloon with a camera on board to film the curvature of Earth. There's a PayPal link below if anybody wants to chip in.
Okay? Zoom in on a boat. Take the equations they've given us and do some math and just see. Check it out. Put it on YouTube.
That's an absolutely amazing idea, CC, so I will pass the mantle to you. You are the one who's always banging on about nobody does any experiments anymore, so why don't you go down to the beach, set up your P900, P1000, whatever it is, on a tripod, find a boat that's heading towards the horizon, zoom in on it and stay zoomed in. And stay exactly as you are until eventually the boat will have gone so far past the horizon it will be impossible for you to zoom it back in. But Flat Earthers never seem to do that part. I wonder why.
Why are we pre-programmed to believe this before we could even speak?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know we were, and what an absolutely awful gift for a baby. A globe. Maybe that's what happened to you though, Chris. Maybe you were emotionally scarred by receiving a globe of the world as a present before you could even speak.
Why? Why are the authoritative figures, there's an illegal right now coming up with his moped. Never heard mopeds around here at all.
You've never heard a moped in your neighborhood? I find that hard to believe, Chris.
Ganja, marijuana, tree, whatever you want to call it.
Electric lettuce, the devil's cabbage. Why are we even talking about this?
Control is all what it's about. You have to control billions of people. It's the only way to control the world. Create turmoil. Create nonsense.
Don't put yourself down, Chris. I don't think your videos are nonsense. I think they're absolutely awesome. Now, they are filled with nonsense, but that doesn't mean the videos themselves are nonsense. And that's just my humble opinion.
And that'll soon be something that these trolls might wake up to. Or maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm convinced that most of them are NPCs.
And just in case you were wondering, when he's talking about trolls, he's talking about people like me. But I can assure you, I am not an NPC.
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 In our world, well, in the real world that we live in, we don't need government. We don't need politicians. We don't need...
I'll tell you what we don't need. Anarchy, because that's what we would have if we got rid of all the politicians. I don't like politicians either, but a world without them I think is a bit of a stretch. They're a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Everything would just run just fine without them.
Chris, haven't you seen the Purge films? It probably wouldn't end well for any of us.
But yet they want you to believe that you can make choices.
You can, which is why you have a YouTube channel where you make a fool of yourself every single time you upload a video. Because you have that choice. You don't have to be a flat earther.
You have to understand, God created all of this for you.
And if he did, he's done a pretty crap job, hasn't he? War, poverty, hunger, childhood cancer. I could go on, but I won't. Okay, brace yourselves because I have got some grave news. It would seem that the very foundations of our understanding of the universe are being challenged.
Good afternoon, folks.
By a man in a dirty grey wife beater. He claims to have definitive proof that the Earth is flat, and this is a matter of utmost importance, because if true, it means we've been paying way too much for globes. Please subscribe.
Good afternoon, folks. Well, yesterday, somebody must have made a video.
Well, it wasn't me, or at least I don't think it was.
Train of globe tears came through. whining and crying, again, as predicted, with every excuse as to one, why they won't rent their own boat and go to Antarctica, and two, why they refuse to do any actual science.
Why don't you, Dan? If you think it's such a great idea, go ahead and rent a boat. It's not only globe earthers that can do experiments.
10 years this has been going on.
And flat earthers are still no closer to proving their theory than they were 10 years ago.
And all the globe quote-unquote scientists want to do is talk. They think that's science. Talk.
I've never claimed to be a scientist, although I do like talking. You've got me there.
Because that's all the globe religion is. It's a religion. It's not science.
And why exactly is that, Mr. Pratt? Is it because you can't make any actual science fit anything that you believe about the shape of the Earth?
Full of doctrine and pseudoscience.
Yeah, but you not understanding science doesn't make it pseudoscience, Dan. It just means that you haven't got a grasp on what actual science is or what it's able to demonstrate to us about the shape of the Earth, I mean.
And nothing to do with scientific method-based science.
Scientific method-based science. God, you sound like an idiot when you say that.
All they could do is come and proclaim how scared I am.
Well, I've never said that you're scared of the final experiment, although now I think about it, it does sound like something I'd say.
Of Will Duffy.
Ah, well, that's different. Now, I know I've never said that you're scared of Will Duffy. Why would you need to be? Will seems like a really nice guy who's come up with an awesome idea to shut people like you up once and for all. So if you were to be scared of anything, it would be the results of the final experiment, because we all know what they're going to show us.
Isn't it funny? All of these globe proponents are rabid.
Rabid? Isn't one of the main symptoms of rabies foaming at the mouth? I can't recall ever doing that myself.
Anti-creationists, yet they support Will Duffy.
Ah, right, rabid anti-creationists. I get you now. The thing with that, Dan, is the age of the Earth has nothing at all to do with the shape of it.
The supposed Christian that was a fraudulent financial advisor.
Was he? Oh, cool story, Dan. But again, it's irrelevant.
It's kind of like all Donald Trump and his supporters that think he's a Christian.
No comment. If I even mention that man's name, I get a buttload of hateful comments, so let's move on.
Send all your little idiots over. I love laughing at their comments before I delete them.
But why do you need to delete comments, Dan? Is it because you don't want your own audience laughing at you as well when they see comments from the globe earth side of the argument proving just how wrong you are in every single video you publish?
So still to this day, well, because Jaron said that if there's 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the Earth can't be flat. Well, Jaron's a greedy idiot.
Now, if any of you are like me and you've often sat there thinking to yourself, I wonder what jealousy looks like. Well, it looks like this. Look at his face. He is absolutely seething that other flat earthers are able to support themselves by making content and uploading it to YouTube. And you can call Jaron an idiot if you want to, Dan, but at least he's honest enough to say that he will accept what the results of the final experiment show us.
Jaron also pushes crypto on the people.
And that's relevant how?
The worst thing that could possibly happen to humanity, the easiest way to create a worldwide communist system.
Well, that should suit you perfectly then, Dan. And the idea behind crypto was to create a decentralized digital currency.
You know, crypto having allegiance to a certain political party, especially communism.
Do you think Dan Pratt does any research prior to hitting that record button, or does he just make it all up as he goes along?
Look up the definition of crypto.
No problem. Cryptocurrency, a digital currency in which transactions are verified and records maintained by a decentralized system using cryptography rather than a centralized authority.
None of them can explain how, if this 24-hour sun in Antarctica proves a globe, that means that globe has to be rotating. Yet, I myself have done the experiment right here, hanging a plumb bob and showing absolutely zero deflection from 90 degrees.
But the plumb bob, just like everything else on Earth, including you, Dan, is rotating with the Earth. We're all within the same rotating frame of reference, so hanging a plumb bob proves nothing about the shape of the Earth, or whether it's moving, I mean. I know smarty pants is.
Deflection that must be there, according to any math professor in any Institute of Higher Learning.
Well, from a purely mathematical perspective, yeah, because Earth is rotating, there should be a very slight deflection in the plumb bob's direction due to the Coriolis effect. But the deflection is, generally speaking, way too small to be observed with the plumb bob experiment, which is why nobody ever, except flat earthers of course, has tried to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth using a plumb bob.
They want to talk about everything. But when it comes down to proving their bullshit, they fall short every time. They come up with every excuse not to do it.
Well, yeah, I know that, but that's because flat earthers know that every time they do go out and do an experiment, it just ends up proving that the Earth is a globe anyway.
I know you are, but what am I?
What are you for?
So, their defense as far as experiments, well, you call out all these experiments and why don't you do them? Okay, I did the plumb bob one.
We know, Dan, you said, and I'm certain that your Nobel Prize in Physics is in the post. And as far as the cost of it, it just boggles the mind. What did you pay for that bit of string and away? Will Duffy has arranged an experiment. Just because flat earthers don't like it, it doesn't make it any less of an experiment.
Still have yet to see any of you clowns do one.
Yeah, wish you would do one.
Backing up your claim that there must be deflection in that plumb bob.
What about you, Dan? What exactly do you think your plumb bob experiment backs up? Because as far as I can tell...
You couldn't back up a phone, you cunt.
Same with the water experiments. You know why they refuse to do them?
Because they don't want to get wet and the water may be cold?
Because they can't fake them.
No, I wouldn't have got that in a million years.
So they refuse to do them. And they get little clown shows like this Final Excuse Expedition. Anything but experiment.
Look, I'm getting really fed up with flat earthers saying that the final experiment isn't an experiment at all. Why isn't it an experiment, flat earthers, and specifically you, Mr. Pratt? Because I know you see my videos. Why do you think the final experiment isn't an experiment? And you can't say because it's going to prove the Earth is a globe and that's why you don't like it, which is what we all know anyway. But I am genuinely curious to hear why flat earthers do not accept that the final experiment is an experiment at all.
Hey, how do y'all plan on isolating the parameters of your little final experiment? How do you plan on falsifying your results with your little final experiment?
To isolate the final experiment's parameters, TFE will travel within the Arctic Circle during the summer solstice, Dan, maintaining a clear view of the horizon. Now, the results can be falsified if the sun sets, its position is inconsistent, or a day-night cycle occurs. And TFE will be documenting everything, and there will be lots of witnesses from the flat Earth and the globe Earth side to ensure transparency. Look, TFE just provides a straightforward way to test the Earth's shape, and we're all open to letting the evidence guide us to the truth. Aren't we, flat earthers? And also, TFE will be observing and documenting what the sun does while they're in Punta Arenas. And if you look at a map, you can't get much further south than that. It's near Ushuaia, which is often claimed to be the furthest city south. So, all that.
You don't, because it's a clown show. It has nothing to do with scientific method-based science.
Scientific method-based science.
It's more pseudo-scientific trash. So come insult me, cry, whine all you want. couldn't care less.
Why are you making a video about it then? Because when I don't care about something, I just don't make content about it.
I know what I know. Other flat earthers know what they know.
And you know what I know? And to be fair, it's not just me. Probably everybody watching this video knows the same thing that I know. And you know what it is that we all know about you, Dan? That you're jealous of the flat earthers who get to do this for a living and earn enough money to support themselves. It shows in every single upload you make.
How do we know? Oh, the thousands of hours of video over water showing objects visible that never should be. And you clowns just think constantly screaming refraction that just happens to paint the picture of what a perfectly level Earth would look like every time, and calling that science.
Now, I just typed into YouTube refraction over water, and all I got was a long list of experiments involving water. But what I didn't see was any footage from any flat earth channels, because I'm assuming they are the ones with the thousands of hours of footage of objects being there that shouldn't be there. Dan, you do realise that any of us can check the things that you say? The internet is a wonderful place, especially if you know what you're looking for.
You tards should all kill yourselves, seriously.
Do you know, there's something about Dan Pratt I've always admired. It's his people skills and how friendly he is. Well, there's lots of people in the world I disagree with, but I most definitely would never ask them to do that.
You're of your father, the devil.
Alright, Dad, it's only me, so I'm making a YouTube video and this guy just said I was the son of the devil. But I what do you mean I might be? Dad?
So I don't give a if I hurt your little feelers.
Well, actually, Daniel, they're called antennae, and lots of insects have them. But now I think about it, he probably means feelings.
You're the shit stains of humanity.
Flippin' heck, Dan, who stole the cheese out of your burger? Somebody got up on the wrong side of their bed this morning.
You are the problem with humanity because you love lies.
What shape is the earth again, Dan?
You love telling them, you love hearing them, you love fantasizing about it because you're all a bunch of little troglodyte, little Dungeons and Dragons rejects.
Now you've gone too far. The only dragon I like is the one on the Welsh flag, you knob.
That's why you constantly claim the guy that patrols the worst neighborhoods in Columbus every night is too scared of the final experiment. Oh my God!
Alright, sorry, Art. I'll be sure to reach out to your governor, Mike DeWine, and nominate you for a Medal of Valor. Talking about troglodytes, this guy looks like a gremlin.
How about you do some real experiments?
How about you buy some shirts with sleeves?
Show us a plumb bob deflecting due to the rotation of Earth, which your mathematician professors insist must be there.
Right, first of all, mathematician is one word, not two separate words, you clown. And secondly, you've got your own SpongeBob. Plumb bob, not SpongeBob. I can show you a SpongeBob if you'd like.
Show it to us. Bet you won't.
You're right, I probably won't, because it doesn't prove anything about whether the Earth is or isn't rotating.
Show us a body of water displaying curvature on its surface.
Anything else?
It's up to you to prove it does otherwise. To prove it can display curvature at some distance.
Oh, cool. So does that mean I win something? I never win anything, but I did just show you two different examples of water displaying curvature upon its surface. So, what do I win?
Pitiful, pathetic,
Ew. Say it, don't spray it.
disgusting online trolls. That's all you people are. That are taking advantage of the stupidity of your other cult members and making money off of them.
Dan, jealousy is a very ugly emotion, especially in a man your age. What are you, 50, 60? I have no idea. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.
I don't think so. No, no,
so. No, 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 it's never, ever, ever, ever,